Hi, I'm Debbie.
And I'm Jan, and I'm cranky. I'm just going to put it out there.
We've got aches and pains. We're old people down here
We
in
are.
the villages. We've got some injuries. So anyway,
So don't say that you look cranky, because I am.
we already know. So this is our Your Questions Answered, our March version. And the first question was from the longest course in the villages, Glenview Championship, and that was from Glowy Bird. And Glowy Bird asked, do you ladies have a contact email for your YouTube page? And at the time we didn't, but we do now. So if you need to reach us, you can reach us outside of YouTube at 365villages@gmail.com. So thank you for your
I just
question.
might use that. The next one is from Laura Lampy, and she asks a lot of questions, and we really appreciate you, Laura.
Yes.
And she said, did the developer ever start building anything on the former Hacienda golf course? Wasn't that supposed to be turned into courtyard villas? Well, first of all, when they tore it down, they threatened apartments, but now they are actually starting on the pool, the pickleball courts, cornhole, the new layout for the golf shop, and the cart barn, and then they're putting courtyard villas in there. So I think it'll be great, because that's how they do things.
And it sounds like the infrastructure is supposed to go in first, so that'll be the first thing that we'll see.
Yep.
And the interesting thing is going to be, they claim that it's going to be a resort style pool, resort style. So I'll be interested to see, like, if is it going to be like Fenny, like they've got that, zero walk in, like the beach and stuff like that.
And they're doing that more and more down south.
Yeah.
Those kind of pools. But yeah, it's supposed to be a nice pool, and I think they'll deliver.
Yeah. So we're optimistic, and we'll keep you posted as we see some changes.
There's a lot of grading going on, and there's a lot of dirt moving, and closures for the tunnel. I hope they open that back up, because people going from the lakes over to the Palms, it's a little dicey,
tricky
to go across there, and I'm like, somebody's going to get hurt. But yeah,
for sure.
It's all good.
For sure. The next question is from Kip S. When you book a tee time on an executive course, is that always 9 holes, or can you book 18 holes too? So it is only 9 holes, but most of the golf courses, the executive courses, have like a sister course. So there's usually 2 courses, like Bogey and Bacall, or whatever. So a lot of times
Red Fox, Gray Fox.
Yeah, Red Fox, Gray Fox, like Saddlebrook, Hawks Bay, whatever. So there's the Churchill one has 3 of them. It's like Churchill Downs, Belmont. So, but anyway, so usually there's a sister course there also. So what you could always do is book yourself like an 11 o'clock on course A, and then do a 1 o'clock on course B. So you could always do that if you were looking to play 18 holes in a row.
Can you do that as a request, or do you have to, for the second one, wait for an unused?
You have to wait for an unused, I believe. The last time I tried it, that's what had happened, because they said they'll only honor 1 request per day.
When you go in there and try to make another tee time, they'll say you've already made a tee time. And so I have a friend, and she was like an expert at this whole thing. She could get it down. But I think you have to be very patient, and I think you have to get on. I think it loads during the night, really late, and she would get on, because she worked weird hours, right after it loaded, and then she could pick that next one to do 18. So it's possible.
It is possible, but yes, your reservation will be for a 9 hole.
The next question, still under the
December questions answered.
Will there be new apartments constructed in TV? There are apartments being built around the villages, and there are apartments being built above some of the businesses in Spanish and Sumter, and maybe someday in Brownwood, who knows? But Brownwood has their own apartments.
Yeah.
That's
The lofts.
the lofts. That's the one apartment complex that there is. And I
Currently.
think that, and I think that was an experiment. So, and it's very popular, because there's a 2-year waiting list. But I don't know how you can sign up for the new apartments above the buildings. I haven't figured that out yet, but
Well, I haven't even seen that they've started them yet.
they have started.
Have they?
Yeah, it's very secretive. They're in the back of Spanish, and they
Over by
come
the Morse?
around. They're in the parking lot where bowlers park,
Oh, okay.
all that stuff, and
Okay.
they're coming up those back stairs, and they have that kind of all blocked off and taped off, but you can see everything's down up above. There's no window shadings or anything, and you can see that they're doing stuff.
Well, I would think then if you're interested in looking into the apartments, then contact the sales office
Yeah,
and just
I
say,
would.
you know, I'm interested in the apartments, and I'm sure they can put you in touch with the right people because that is owned by the villages. So
Right.
that will be who you would be renting
And
through unless
I think that would be a fun spot. So, except I would be worried about my cart and my car, where that's going to be parked. So.
Yeah. Iron 12 asks, so you can golf a championship course without being a member of the country club. So a couple things with that question. Nobody's really a member of a particular country club. So we can do these things called an enhanced membership. And so what that allows you, you pay a fee up front and it lasts for a year, and that gives you discounted golf and it gives you priority tee times. So those two things being said, you can just do it for a certain number of courses. You can just do it for like 4. I think they have it down broken,
Yeah.
4,
Right. Yeah.
8, and
Your
then
favorites,
all
yeah.
of them. And so if you only are going to golf 4 courses, it is a little cheaper if you're just priority or enhanced, it's called now, if you're enhanced for those 4 courses.
Right.
But then if you played something outside of those 4 courses, you will be paying full price. So you can do that. And also another question, I don't think we had it in this, but people have asked also, so does that mean that people that are not villagers, can they golf the championship courses? And the answer is yes. They can knock off the executive courses. That is strictly for residents and their guests.
Yep.
But the championship courses can be golfed by people outside the villages. In my mind, it's a little bit pricey, but if people want to pay that, they are welcome to, and they just need to call. They cannot make tee times ahead of time. They would just call, see if there's any unused tee times, and then they're welcome to use the course.
Right. So they can call early in the morning and
set something
go
up
off at noon or whatever.
Yep. And just as a little piece of information here, just because I was at Lopez the other day and the poor guy on the phone was getting so frustrated because somebody was saying, but I have a tee time tomorrow and I want to see about this. Nobody can see the tee times for the next day. They can only see that day as far as you're trying to make a reservation. People that have the internet service like we do, we can see 3 days worth to make a reservation based on open tee times. But if you call any of the pro shops and you say, well, I want to see what's going on tomorrow, who am I golfing with, or is there a tee time earlier? They're not going to be able to look that up. The only place that you could get that information would be the tee time office, and I'm not sure that they're keen on you calling for that purpose. That's but anyway, so just so you know, the golf shops cannot look things up ahead of time either.
Just the day of.
Yep, just the day of. Mm-hmm.
And they're very patient.
Yes.
With people wanting to get it unused to, because my husband's a little slow when he's doing this stuff, and they're very patient. Rich A said, are amenity fees per household or per person? They are per household. They depend on where you live. It's not that big of a spread, but some are a little cheaper. Ours are $178.
And ours are 171. They got bumped up. I think when we originally did a video, mine were at like 162 or something. Yeah. And they recently got up to 171. But still, with what we get.
And if you think of what prices are now and wages and everything else, I don't think that's a big jump, personally.
Yeah. Susan Christie asked on the same video, do most people get flood insurance? And unofficial survey, I would say no.
Yeah, I don't have it.
Yeah, a lot of people.
I just looked ours up. Yeah, no.
No, and a lot of people have said that they have asked their agents, and their agents said there's never been a flood here. We're going to try and do a video with an insurance agent to ask them, because I would, for myself, would like to know what is the difference between hurricane damage, regular storm damage, like if a tornado goes over but it's spawned off of a hurricane, is that go under your homeowners? Is that, and if my house floods because like we get so much water, is that flood? Is that homeowners? Is that hurricane? If it's because of a hurricane dumps 2 feet in 5 minutes.
Right.
I mean, I'm just curious.
It doesn't go anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we're going to try and get a hold of an insurance agent to get some of those questions answered for you because in Illinois, where I'm from, we had homeowners insurance, and really most people didn't get flood insurance unless they were in a floodplain, and we're not in a floodplain.
Right. No.
So usually that's when people got it, but we didn't have to worry about hurricanes and that comes with a lot of water. You know, hurricanes have a lot of water.
Well, and Hurricane Irma, that was the one that was like 5 years ago. It did flood some of the historic side. I mean, they were pumping water. They knew it was coming. They were pumping, the villages pumping, but they have that big pond there, and there were a few houses that it did get to, and now they're considered in a floodplain. So
interesting.
I don't know, because now when they put a new house there, it has to be elevated, and that's around that main pond. That main pond.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I have some pictures of that, and it was there were streets very, very flooded, but it rained so hard, so fast. I mean, it just can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So. And I don't know, once you're a floodplain, you're always a floodplain?
They redo them every so many years. I don't remember if it's from mortgage business. I don't remember what it is.
We'll figure that
they
out
do.
With our agent.
Yeah. We're going to try and get an agent on here.
The next one is from the controversies video. And again, Laura asked, where will the apartments be located at Sumter? And they will be above some of the commercial buildings. I don't know which one, and I have not seen construction over there yet. So maybe they're doing Spanish first, and then they'll go on to that one. But I have not seen the construction over there. So it will be above, and it's going to be interesting. Yep.
Tom R. asked from the same video, do residents even get a chance to vote on budget and spending issues or to see actual expenditures periodically of the 10 million plus collected and spent each month in amenity fees? So I will say overall, we don't vote on it. So we all have our districts, and so our districts kind of represent us. And actually, Jan's got a little, I knew Jan would do the research, but our districts are all, I think we're at 14. Do you know? I think we're at like 14 districts.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you would think of that like in Illinois, I would say like a township within a city. So it's like a portion of the town.
Yep.
So what they ended up doing was you have your representatives, and then we have PWAC, which is the big, it's hard to explain, but like a big association. And anyway, they're the ones that spend a lot of the master money, and then our districts just handle our local stuff. And so if you
it's the CDD, which is the Community Development District, and then you can vote on 5 people to represent you to do all that. And it's more complicated than I thought when I looked it up. I'm just like, there's a lot of CDD, VDDs, and
well,
not
the CDD is your Community Development District, which is the smaller one. That's like your little local. And so those are the people, honestly, if I was having questions, that's where I would go to get answers or to voice my opinion about, hey, I heard they're going to do X, Y, Z, and not happy with it. We would like you to vote no. That's who I would get in touch with about that. But then they have the PWAC, which is the big one. And anyway, and so they handle more of the bigger, like the stuff the developer owns, that kind of thing. Like they handle the bigger picture. If that makes any sense.
But it is governed by a 5-member board of supervisors elected by property owners. So you do kind of have a say.
Yes.
In order to put the right people in in charge, just like government. So Phyllis Porter asked, you talked about abandoned homes, which is something that doesn't scare us to possibly purchase. Do you know how to locate them? I don't think there's a list of abandoned homes. I mean, you kind of see them in the village's news and the paper, and I don't know whether you can contact the villages. Some of them are tied up with estates. Some of them are tied up with HUD. There's not very many considering the amount of houses that are here. There's only a few. And then you can tell that it's obviously abandoned because nobody's taking care of the yard or the mold or whatever. But I would say with all the houses that are here, it's pretty small.
It is pretty small, but what I would tell you is if it was me, I would reach out to a local realtor and just kind of say, hey, this is what we're looking for. They're out driving these communities with people all the time. So I would think like if, they may run across them as far as like, oh, there's one on the corner that,
Yeah.
And the other thing that you could do, I don't know though how you would be able to do it, but so some of them get fined and things like that through the, what is that thing called? The Architectural Review Committee.
Yes.
So if you have mold on your home, if your lawn isn't manicured, blah, 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 you can be fined. And so possibly they may have a list of homes that had been fined
for a while.
And maybe they would be a resource. But if it was me, I would probably reach out to a realtor first and just say, here's what we're looking for. You have any thoughts?
Would you do a Villages realtor or another realtor?
I would probably do an outside realtor because I'm not sure how many of those homes the Villages even ends up listing.
Right. Yeah. So
that would be my thought.
Yeah.
Carmine M asked, can you do a video on things to do outside the Villages? You should already, by the time that this gets released, we should have had one released on March 3rd. So you should have already seen that video. So hopefully that's helpful and hopefully that gives you some ideas. We had a lot of fun doing that one. There's a million things to see and do. So we'll probably continue to do that. We'll probably continue to do day trips in the Villages, all that kind of thing. So, but anyway, yes, thank you for the question and the suggestion for a video.
And it's Florida. It's a vacation spot. So there's lots to do. So NF asked about, what do you mean about homeless people? Are they roaming the Villages? How's it handled? There really aren't that many homeless people. You when you're in a warm climate, you're going to have some homeless people. You can, I think they're probably picked up like a lot of law enforcement does and put on their way or help them out. Hopefully they help them out. There's churches and so you don't see a lot of that. You kind of see it in the paper or the Villages news, but
and it is very rare.
It is, yeah.
So.
I mean, there was a homeless person living on the other side in the park or whatever, but that was a long time ago. I mean, it really isn't. It's not a big deal.
No,
not
you
at all.
Probably would never even know. Aurora Knight asked, why don't residents go to Orlando hospitals for care given the Villages limited care care and demand? So some people may go to Orlando. I don't personally know anybody. We have 2 hospitals here close, Leesburg and the Villages. Everybody has talked about, and it's kind of been beaten to death about that, maybe the hospitals aren't so good, but I do know people have gone to Ocala for help.
Down there. Yep.
Gainesville has UF, so I know people have gone to Gainesville depending on what they're, having done. I was pretty much told if you're in an emergency situation that the Villages hospital is just fine, but it's just not. A lot of people have said, if it's not an emergency, they've waited for a long time. And I think that's been the biggest complaint. So if you break your arm, you may sit there for a while.
If you're bleeding, you might get in right away.
Exactly.
Or if you have chest pain.
Exactly. So
you get in. So
I think it varies on what your situation is.
And I think any ER is going to be a madhouse. So, I mean, I don't think they should judge a hospital by the ER because
and a lot of the comments on this, because this was kind of a hot topic off of this controversies video, and I will say a lot of people said, look, I live here, they're, other states, and they said, we have the same problems here. There's a shortage of healthcare people. And I will say, though, with the Villages moving so far south, my guess is that some of the people down south, south of 44 and all of that, like in Fenny and Marsh Bend and that whole area, those guys are only about 45 minutes from Orlando. They may go to Orlando for healthcare. So that could be a thing.
Yeah, because they're close to the turnpike and they can get right on the turnpike and go down there. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know anybody that's gone there, but that is definitely an option for sure.
Okay, the next one is Technology Mom, which I really like your name. So what happened with the little White Crosses story? You never explained. A judge did rule in November of 2021 that the little white cross was a lawn ornament, therefore to be removed. And some of the districts are a little more strict than others about the little white crosses.
Or about lawn yard,
Any
yard
yard art,
or
any yard art.
Yeah.
The newer sections are they're more strict about it. The older sections, it especially on the historic side, there's a lot of yard art, and there's a little bit around us, but it kind
you
of
would just need to check your declarations.
Yep. You need to look that up on the district.gov.org.
Yep.
And good luck with that. But yeah, I mean, as long as nobody complains, they're okay.
But the little white crosses, that got to be a big thing, because
it was a big thing.
The fight was, it wasn't yard art. It was, they were demonstrating their faith. So then we go to the freedom of religion.
They were fined every day.
They were fined every day.
Yeah.
And I do believe, did it say anything? Did they appeal?
I think it's still going on. I mean, this is November 2021 that the judge ruled it was lawn ornament.
I think it's going to the Supreme Court.
I think they're still fighting that it's their religious belief. So
I think it's getting pushed up the chain in the court system, last I saw. So off the video, great places to eat in the villages. Charles Bartholomew. What? No deep dish pizzas? My kind of guy. No. The pizza here is not the best. And in coming from Chicago, we all know the Chicago, New York argument. The pizza here is more New York style than Chicago style. We need to get some Chicago style pizzerias to open up around here. And
although you can order online, Lou Malnati's pizza, and we have done that.
You can,
and it comes frozen.
Yep,
and it's pretty darn good. If you need that deep dish fix.
And there are Rosati's here, but I think they're the closest one's like Orlando or something like that, which is a long way for me to go for pizza. But if I was in the area, I'd sure go to Rosati's. So thank you for the questions.
Next one is North to South, and Victoria Devlin. Did you two have a good time at Naldo's? Wink, wink. And I'm just like, wink, wink, back at you. The food was great, and so was the margarita. That's all I'm going to say.
KM asked off the same video, what is the safest area to live in the villages? What neighborhood was it?
Well, I just looked online. It's the villages of Hadley.
Oh, now it's Hadley.
And I know when I looked it up not too long ago, it was a different one.
It was.
Which was on a different video.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that's determined. Plus, I think that most of the villages in the villages are safe.
Yeah, overall, so when you hear about any theft, it's usually, sadly, like a cleaning lady that you've allowed in your home, something like that, a service provider of some sort. Kids, which not so much even in the villages, but some neighborhoods around the villages, scoop and change out of so lock your doors, your car doors. That eliminates a lot of problem. And so the crime is not usually really big crime. Every once in a while you have attacks. A lot of times, unfortunately, it's either people not stable or spouses getting into it and things like that. Usually alcohol or drugs are involved. So it's overall, it's a very safe, I never feel uncomfortable anywhere I am in the villages. And I would go out and drive in my golf cart at night and not think a thing of it. You know, so
by myself, even I'm not scared here at all.
There's nothing that's So overall, the whole village is safe.
The next one's from KM, same person. Have you ever been charged by a gator or a person in a golf cart? I've never been charged by a gator. I don't think they run that fast. They're not very aggressive around here. They do keep to themselves. I have been run off the road many a time by a golf cart. Does that count?
Well, you've been walking or running, right?
Well, walking or running, You just have to be very defensive. But the gators, there's really not. There has been a couple dogs grabbed by a gator. And then the owner tries to prevent it, so then they get bit. But technically, we had one big gator that
He's
Larry
gone.
that people were feeding, so he got a little too tame. So then they took him to Gatorland, and he has his own place and his own plaque.
He's a celebrity.
He is a
He was a celebrity here too,
Yeah,
but now he's a celebrity somewhere else.
Yeah.
So, and our last question is from Frank Keel on the same video. Who is feeding the alligators in all these water ponds? Hopefully nobody.
It's illegal.
Yeah, the gators, I did read somewhere that they only need to eat once a month. I don't know if that's true or not, but I read that somewhere. But they will eat the birds and the fish. I mean, it's nature. So
Right,
they eat
yeah.
the things that
Yeah.
are right there. Dogs, unfortunately. So here's the thing. If you don't walk your dog right near a pond, I always say this is like dangling a carrot in front of people.
Yep.
If you are walking your dog, in particular a small dog, you do not want to be walking right along the edge of a pond. And honestly, most of the ponds and the lakes here anyway, you really can't get to. They're in the
No,
middle of a
yeah,
golf
a lot of
course.
them
You're
are
not
on
supposed to
courses,
be.
yeah.
You're not supposed to be walking along those anyway.
Right.
So with your dog in particular, so most people probably don't run into that issue here. But anyway, you're not supposed to be feeding in near the wildlife here because it does exactly what happened to poor Larry. They get tame and then
Yeah.
they get transported. They get punished for us
Right,
being
yeah.
feeding
Well,
them.
he's lucky that he didn't get euthanized.
Get killed, yeah.
Because a lot of them they'll take out, and because they're too
Yeah.
tame, and they're too comfortable around humans.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So yeah, but so anyway, so nobody should be feeding them. Hopefully Mother Nature is feeding them, and it's a nasty sound though if you ever hear it. We were golfing Palmer one time, and there's this marsh right by where you tee off, and all of a sudden you just heard this nasty snap, and then you heard the scream from the poor little birdie that it got. But oh my gosh, it was a nasty chomp. I was like, and we knew that's what it had to be because it was like came out of the pond.
It's
had
a
to be.
vice.
It was-
There's teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so don't feed them anyway.
Yep.
Because
Yeah.
you don't want to lose a limb.
It's not a pet.
No. But anyway, so as always, we appreciate your questions and comments and your interest in our video. And if you've enjoyed this one, hopefully you'll check out another.
Like and subscribe.
Yes. Have a great day.
Just moseying along, don't mind me.
You don't see that every day. No kidding.
Holy crap.
Like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah,
Going up. Don't mind me.
yeah.
I'm gonna go find